I don't think it's a hot take to say that the music industry has been historically unkind to women, especially women in pop music, because fan bases can be fickle, reviewers can be harsh, and you're kind of always getting compared to someone else. Each era is expected to be better than the last, complete with a brand new aesthetic and visuals because God forbid anyone say that you're boring. And on top of that, fans and detractors alike seem to be constantly fixated on your personal and romantic life. And I would imagine that this would be annoying and stressful, but for Olivia Rodrigo and Sabrina Carpenter, two really talented acts taking the pop scene by storm right now, it kind of actually worked out in their favor, and I'm really fascinated by that. So today we're going to talk all about the lore, narratives, and the classic idea of the Hollywood pop star. But before we get started, feel free to follow me on social media. You can find me on all of the platforms in this beautiful link tree that is linked in the description down below. I am currently on a trip to Europe, so if you go to any of my social media, you will probably see some tweets and posts and photos of that, but it is a great way for me to connect with you guys, and it's honestly one of the most fun parts of what I do.
Got my driver's license last week, just like we always talked about.
Now allow me to quickly recap you on the Olivia Rodrigo, Sabrina Carpenter, Joshua Bassett drama because it's been quite a minute since 2020. And let's face it, we have all somehow lost a considerate amount of brain cells since then. So as the story goes, Olivia Rodrigo's rise to fame started in the mid-2010s. She was on a show called Bizarre Dvark and then went on to star in another series called High School Musical, the series. It's still a bad title. And during her time on that show, she began dating her co-star Joshua Bassett. And like most first loves do, it ended in a breakup. That breakup was the narrative inspiration behind Olivia Rodrigo's 2021 debut album, Sour. And to be honest, I don't know if anyone, Olivia included, anticipated how much this album and the song Driver's License, which is about her and Bassett's relationship, was going to blow up. It was everywhere. And you know, it's a solid pop album. It's an album I like quite a bit. It's sort of refreshingly sad and dramatic, but in like an endearing way. And as far as the lyrics go, the writing style on the album is certainly evocative of the style of Taylor Swift, where the lyrics call back to a specific real-life situation. And the phenomenon of Driver's License prompted a lot of fans to dig a little deeper into the breakup between Olivia and Joshua Bassett, and that's where Sabrina Carpenter comes in. Okay, so back then, I didn't know who Sabrina Carpenter was, but people were mad at this woman. What I can tell you now is that Sabrina also got her start as a Disney kid, playing the character Maya Hart in Girl Meets World, a spin-off of Boy Meets World. Also, I was so ready to come on here and tell you guys that she played Liv and Maddie on the show Liv and Maddie. I don't think I've ever actually seen a full episode of that show. I just kind of remember the promo and commercials of it. And in my head, I was like, oh yeah, that's definitely what she's from. That's totally what she's from. And then I just looked at her Wikipedia page and I was like, shit, okay, I was wrong. But it has pretty much been confirmed through circumstantial happenstance and the lyrics present in some of the songs on Sour that Sabrina is the girl that Joshua Bassett broke up with Olivia Rodrigo for. The timeline is visibly easy to put together based on the fact that around the time Olivia and Joshua Bassett stopped being seen together, Joshua Bassett and Sabrina Carpenter were frequently seen together. The reason why people speculated that the lyrics are about Sabrina is because in Driver's License, Olivia refers to a blonde girl who was older than her, and those things obviously check out in terms of Sabrina. Olivia also indirectly confirms in another song on the album that Joshua didn't necessarily cheat with Sabrina, as indicated by the lyrics, "It took you 2 weeks to go off and date her, guess you didn't cheat, but you're still a traitor." Sabrina then also indirectly addressed the situation in a couple of her own songs. For example, in the song Skin, which she released in 2021, she says, "Maybe you didn't mean it, maybe blonde was the only rhyme," which is a pretty clear reference to Olivia Rodrigo's line in Driver's License about her being blonde. And eventually in 2022, she addressed the situation more directly in a song called Because I Liked a Boy, where she talks about how she was branded as a homewrecker and received death threats because of the boy who she was dating at the time, which is thought to be Bassett. Now here's the thing, neither of these women did anything wrong. Olivia Rodrigo was just 18 at the time that Sour came out, so assuming she did have a hand in writing most of the songs on the album, it was more than valid for her to write about her own experiences, even if it came off in like this juvenile, immature, emotional way. We've all been 18 and crazy, we've all been there. And obviously Sabrina didn't do anything wrong either. According to Olivia herself, there was not even like a crossing of the timeline going on. But you know, even if there's nothing technically or morally wrong with the situation, you as an artist or as a person person, period, still have the right to express whatever feelings you're feeling about it. Hell, I would argue that Joshua Bassett really didn't do anything wrong either. But regardless, the discourse began to emerge as these two women getting pit against each other, whether either of them wanted it to be that way or not. And it goes without saying that Sabrina Carpenter got the shortest end of the stick in all of this. I remember when Sour first came out, there were threads and tweets like, oh, Sabrina Carpenter, you better count your fucking days. This album made me hate Sabrina Carpenter, and now I hate Sabrina Carpenter. Sabrina Carpenter's music is terrible, it's never been good. And you know, in a different time, in a different pop culture era not too long ago, I feel like this would have been a career-ending situation for Sabrina. I mean, we're not far removed from the Katy Perry-Taylor Swift beef, which Katy Perry never truly recovered from career-wise. But much to my surprise, Sabrina has rebounded from all of this in a really cool and interesting way. And I feel like Olivia has sort of taken her stardom even further in ways I didn't expect either. I'll get to Sabrina in a second, but let me touch a little bit more on Olivia first. If you are unaware, Olivia released her second album, Guts, in 2023, and it's pretty good. I like it quite a bit. I think it builds on the elements of her pre-existing sound without completely throwing out her whole brand. It's all very dramatic and emotional. It explores the peril of girlhood, no matter how insignificant it may seem. But what's most interesting to me is that when Olivia first started her rollout for Guts, a lot of people were criticizing her for not changing up her sound or the visual aesthetic. Because like I said earlier in this video, nowadays all female pop stars kind of have the expectation of doing a completely distinct era for each project they put out. Guts is not that at all. In a lot of ways, it's just an expansion and a continuation of her old sound. Nor should she feel compelled to move away from it just for the marketability aspect. And I'll be honest, sometimes people are so dense that they just entirely equate eras to visual aesthetics. So I guarantee that if Olivia put out Guts exactly as is, and just changed all of her visuals to have a solid blue or pink or green background or something, everyone would have accepted that as a new era despite the actual music not evolving that much. But no, she's still capitalizing on a brand that works, and clearly one that she feels comfortable in. As of recording this video, she just started, you know, embarking on her national tour. And you know, she may not be the most show-stopping live performer out there. She doesn't really do choreography, she just kind of like sings and hangs out a bit. It comes off as entirely relatable. It doesn't seem forced or put on. And a lot of girls across all ages are very clearly resonating with it. And I guess I just appreciate that she's allowed to keep her authenticity, and that it seems like no one is trying to force her to do more or be something that she isn't. It's refreshing, and I'm happy that she's been able to keep that agency, at least from what we see on the outside. Meanwhile, Sabrina Carpenter has impressed me even more in the sense that her appeal kind of snuck up on me out of nowhere. I've been pretty familiar with Olivia Rodrigo's music since the beginning, and while I knew who Sabrina Carpenter was as a byproduct of the drama that was going on in 2020 and 2021, for whatever reason, the cognitive dissonance there just made me not think that, you know, her music would ever be something that I personally would enjoy. But if you know anything about me, you know that I love me some cunty pop music. And so as I would just listen to playlists on Spotify that had that same vibe, Sabrina Carpenter's songs would pop up quite a bit. I remember the first time Like a Feather came on shuffle and I was like, this shit slaps, who is this? And then I looked and I saw it was Sabrina Carpenter and I was like, you know what, work, that's amazing, I love that for her. And not to compare Sabrina and Olivia directly, but while I think Olivia kind of is staying in this more innocent, I'm a 20-year-old teenage girl vibe, which, you know, has its place and once again clearly resonates with a lot of people, myself included, Sabrina kind of went the other direction and is just objectively like raunchy as fuck. She got in trouble with the Catholic Church recently for filming a music video. Like, we're bringing back the old school pop satanic panic shit. I love that. And I like that over time she's sort of become more comfortable leaning into that aspect of her marketability, having her own series of viral moments related to the live performances of her song called Nonsense, which is also a song I really like, where at the end of the song she sort of matches the lyrics with like a funny rhyme or situation or sex pun that ends with the name of the location that she's performing in.
Said, what's your name? I said Sabrina. Saw that obelisco, said que linda. Who's the loudest here in Argentina? Turn that dick, just don't call me Medusa. Choking on a neat Heimlich maneuver. Sorry, I don't date Lollapalooza. When you go down under, do you miss me? He's so big, I felt it in my kidney. Scream so loud they heard it here in Sydney.
It's really clever, and I think it shows off her personality really well. And I feel like it's slowly getting to the point that she's, you know, establishing her own fan base. She's been able to come up with her own unique identity outside of some meaningless love triangle drama. And I feel like that is just a privilege that hasn't been afforded to the pop stars of the past. And I guess I can attribute it to like audiences becoming more progressive over time. Tabloid culture doesn't quite have a grip on pop culture in the way that it did in, say, the early 2000s. There are no external forces of evil set out to destroy these women women from the inside out. And overall, I think that's a positive thing. But of course, we still have a long way to go in the sense that online hate mobs and organically generated discourse is worse than it's ever been in the sense that it's more centralized and targeted and kind of hard to escape. And like Sabrina still went through that in 2021, it's just remarkable to me that she was able to come out on the other side of it, and she has a lot of crossover appeal to Olivia Rodrigo's fan base, who arguably put her in that position in the first place. And I just feel like that's a new thing, and that's a good thing. Ultimately, I am rooting for both of these ladies to succeed, because I feel like women in pop music have had a tough go of it for so long. And again, we still have a long way to go, but I'm glad those tides are finally turning, and I think that's where I'm going to leave it today for you guys. I'm kinda into the idea of doing more of these fandom deep dives, especially when it comes to music, so let me know if you'd like more of that kind of content in the comments down below. I know this was different, but I'm trying to experiment a little bit. And while you're down there, let me know an artist that you think is extremely underrated. I'll go first. I think Chappell Roan is going to blow up this year. She is currently opening up for Olivia Rodrigo on some tour dates, I believe. If you have not listened to her debut album, go listen to it right now. It is so goddamn good. On that note, let's keep it positive in the comments. Give me some recommendations for artists you think I should check out. Thanks so much, you guys, and I'll see you next time.